Brazil are the favourites to win the upcoming World Cup. That's a phrase that we've all heard before, and with a plethora of attacking talent, defensive experience, and not one, but two of the best goalkeepers in the world to choose from, it's no surprise it's the case going into the 2022 edition in Qatar. No defeats in qualifying, unbeaten in over a year, and back on top of the FIFA World Rankings, Brazil have a great chance of winning a first World Cup in 20 years. Wow, 20 years? Is it really that long since their last triumph? You better believe it, because today on Football Reality, we're taking a look at Brazil's most recent winning team from the 2002 World Cup and asking, where are they now? Very rarely in World Cup history has a team won the tournament as comfortably as Brazil managed to do in 2002. Arriving at the first World Cup in Japan and South Korea, Luiz Felipe Scolari's men had the weight of expectation on their shoulders, while the ghost of what happened in the 1998 final against France was still looming over them. Nevertheless, while France and other powerhouses Argentina and Italy fell in the early rounds, Brazil scored 11 times in their group, beating Turkey, Costa Rica and China respectively, with Ronaldo and Rivaldo scoring in every game. They saw off Belgium 2-0 in the round of 16, goals scored by Ronaldo and Rivaldo again. Before that, ronaldinho free kick over David Seaman secured their passage through the quarter-final with England. A second win against Turkey in the tournament booked their place in the final in Yokohama, and a first World Cup meeting between Brazil and Germany. Despite making the final, much like many other big names at the time, this was no vintage Germany team. They couldn't match the Brazilians, and 2 Ronaldo goals in the second half settled a relatively comfortable win and a 5th World Cup triumph. Ronaldo cemented himself as the best striker in the world at the time, winning the Golden Boot with 8 goals, as 4 Brazilians made the 16-man All-Star team. With that in mind, let's look at the starting lineup from that match with Germany, plus a couple more squad members, and ask where are they now. First up, the goalkeeper Marcos. Marcos was one of 13 players from the Brazil squad in 2002 that played for clubs in their homeland at the time, something hard to imagine now. The Palmeiras man played every minute in Brazil's campaign, which led to interest from Arsenal. A deal was agreed to sign him, but suddenly Marcos disappeared. When he eventually turned up, he declared he'd rather play in Brazil's Serie B than in Europe just for money. He went on to play 29 times for Brazil and remained at Palmeiras until retirement in 2011. Nowadays, he enjoys a simpler life as president of beer company Cerveja 12. He reminisces too about former glories, posting a picture of himself with Germany keeper Oliver Kahn on the 20th anniversary of the 2002 final. He joked he had no idea what he said to Kahn as he didn't speak German or English. Right back, Cafu. Captain of the 2002 team who lifted the trophy aloft after the final, Cafu is regarded by many as the greatest fullback to ever play the game. Cafu holds the record for most Brazil caps, 142, and ended his career in 2008 at Milan, a year on from winning the Champions League. Today, Cafu has his own management company, but is also an ambassador for many organisations, including FIFA. He's been regularly seen promoting the upcoming World Cup for the organisers and also participated in the draw, where his ear-to-ear grin stole the show. Next up, Lucio. Brazilian centre-backs aren't often lauded, but that's not the case for Lucio. Just 24 in 2002, he arrived at the finals having scored in the Champions League final. He went on to win over 100 caps, win the treble with Inter in 2010, the Bundesliga with Bayern, and play at 2 more World Cups. He returned to Brazil in 2013, but his career wasn't done there. He spent a year at FC Goa in India, before eventually retiring in 2020, aged 42, when at Brazilian 4th-tier side Brasiliense, making him the last active squad member of the 2002 squad. On the left, Roberto Carlos. The diminutive speedster with a rocket of a shot, Roberto Carlos was always worth a watch. He scored 1 trademark free kick in the 2002 finals. 1 of 11 goals he scored for the Seleção in 125 caps. After winning everything at Real Madrid, he went to Turkey, Russia and Brazil before retiring, to become a rather unsuccessful manager in Turkey and India. This year, he's been seen back on the pitch, both at Soccer Aid and, amazingly, at English Sunday League team Bull in the Barn United, who won an eBay raffle to have RC3 play for them in a match. He scored a penalty in the match, but unsurprisingly, his pace wasn't quite what it was. In the middle, Gilberto Silva. Providing defensive solidity which allowed his teammates to roam free in attack, Gilberto Silva's workmanlike performances in 2002 earned him a move to Arsenal, where he was a vital member of the 2003-04 Invincibles side and became vice-captain in 2006. He joined Panathinaikos in 2008 before returning to play in Brazil and bowed out of national team duty in 2010 with 93 caps. He returned to Panathinaikos as technical director in 2016, and today he runs his own football consultancy business, mentoring teams and players of today. In attack, Ronaldinho. One of the most skillful, talented players to ever grace a football pitch, Ronaldinho truly announced himself on the world stage in Korea and Japan. A proponent of Joga Bonito, it may have only been a red card in the quarter-final that prevented him from winning the Player of the Tournament award. He moved to Barcelona a year later, going on to win the Ballon d'Or in 2005 and the Champions League in 2006, all while enjoying the party lifestyle and not exactly being a disciplined trainer. He then moved to Milan and completed his career back in Brazil. In recent times, things have been much more bleak for the star. In 2019, he had 57 properties, and his passport seized due to unpaid taxes and fines. Then, in 2010, he and his brother served prison time in Paraguay after they allegedly entered the country on false passports. Bail was eventually paid, but not until Ronaldinho had guided his team to victory in the prison futsal tournament. Up front, Rivaldo. Before Ronaldo's two in the final, the teammates were level in the race for the Golden Boot, but Rivaldo had to settle for only 6 goals in his second World Cup. He also entered the World Cup Hall of Shame in 2002 for one of the worst acts of simulation ever seen, pretending to get hit in the face against Turkey in the group stage, resulting in a red card for Alpay Ozalan. Like Ronaldinho, Rivaldo won the Ballon d'Or during his Barcelona days, back in 1999. Unlike many teammates, Rivaldo didn't have much success after the 2002 triumph, having a very unsuccessful time in Milan, although he then showed glimpses of his former best when at Olympiacos. His mid to late 30s included spells in Uzbekistan and Angola, before finishing his career with Mogi Mirim, one of his first clubs, in 2015, just before turning 43. He stayed on as Mogi Mirim's president and is now living his best life in Florida. He's also been a part of the FIFA World Cup Trophy Tour this year in the build-up to Qatar 2022. Centre forward, Ronaldo. R9 himself, the man who made the 2002 World Cup his own. 4 years on from a seizure on the day of the 1998 final, then 2 years out with terrible knee injuries. That month in the Far East was the ultimate redemption story for O Fenomeno. After the tournament, he signed for Real Madrid and won his second Ballon d'Or. He spent 5 seasons in Madrid where he regularly showed his incredible abilities, scoring over 100 goals despite so much time on the sidelines, with persistent knee problems and a condition which made him gain weight. Like the other 2 members of the famous trio, he also spent time at Milan before 3 years at Corinthians. Injury and weight problems eventually got the better of him and he retired in 2011. At the time, he was the World Cup record goalscorer with 14 goals. Today, Ronaldo is heavily involved in club ownership. Since 2018, he's held a majority share in Real Valladolid, and in 2021, he bought a controlling stake in his boyhood club, Cruzeiro. He's also recently launched Ronaldo TV, starting out as an esports channel, growing into a sports broadcasting company. Also starting the final were Lucio's centre-back partners, Ed Milson, now the president of FC Scar Brazil, and Rogue Jr., who managed 2 lower league clubs in Brazil. Central midfielder Kleberson famously signed for Manchester United on the same day as Cristiano Ronaldo, but didn't leave Old Trafford with quite the same reputation. He is now assistant manager of New York City FC in the MLS. Arguably, the biggest name not involved for Brazil in the final was Kaka, who made 1 substitute appearance in the tournament. Just 20 at the time, Kaka still had the majority of his career ahead of him, and 5 years later would be picking up the Ballon d'Or after a ton of success in Milan. What is it with Milan signing Brazilians, by the way, and Real Madrid? He went on to win 92 caps before his retirement in 2017. Other than spending time with his family, Kaka can be seen running the streets of a city near you, as he's turned his hand or feet to marathon running. So there you have it. That's what Brazil's World Cup champions of 20 years ago are up to now. Who else from the squad has a great story? Which other teams do you want us to have a look into? If you enjoyed this video, you can check out one of our other videos about the lifestyle of a more recent Brazilian star, Neymar. Don't forget to like, leave us a comment, subscribe to Football Reality, and join us again soon.